Hi, my name is David Kaiser and this is a Pic It Perfect tutorial. The curve tool allows you to edit the brightness, contrast, and color of an image accurately and efficiently, and that's why it's probably one of the most used tools by professional photographers and photo editors. It can be used as an adjustment layer or directly onto your image. I seriously recommend to only use it as an adjustment layer because that way your edits are undestructive and you can fix your edits, or you can completely delete the adjustment layer if you want. To start, I'm just going to go to the layers panel, click on this half black, half white circle, and then click on curves, and our curve window will open up. In this lesson, I'm going to be teaching brightness, contrast, that's it, and I'm going to be working only in black and white. I'm going to click and kind of drag this off so that we can, to the side, so that we can see what we're doing a little bit better. Let's look at the graph. We have this wave-like graph within a square, and we have this diagonal line that splits the square into two parts. I'm going to ignore the wave-like graph. That's our histogram, and next lesson I'll be talking about how to work with the histogram with inside curves. But for right now, let's look at this line and the square behind it, or that looks like it's behind it. Anyways, so this line within the square, that represents our image. And the bottom left corner of that line, next to the black triangle, that is the darkest point of our image. And the top right of the diagonal line is the brightest point of our image. As I said earlier, this line splits the square into two triangles. Now, if we take any point of the diagonal line and bring it into the bottom triangle, we'll be darkening our image. And if we take any point of the diagonal line and bring it into the top triangle, we'll be brightening our image. And I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go over here to the dark point, and I'm going to drag it into the bottom triangle. And if you notice that I really darken the image, yet if you look at the whites right over here, they really stayed the same. They haven't changed much. I'm going to click over here to reset that. And now I'm going to darken the image from the brights, and I'm clicking from the bright point and I'm dragging down, and if you'll notice, yes, the brights got much darker, but the darks kind of stayed the same. So now I'm going to click and bring it back, and you'll notice that the darks really don't change much, but the brights did. Now if I want to darken my image from the midpoints, I can click in the middle of the image, and then I created a new point right over here, and then I can drag down to darken the image from the midpoint. Alright, I'm going to click over here to reset. And if I want to brighten my image from the darks, I can just click over here at the bottom and then drag up. And there you go. You'll see that my darks are much brighter, though the whites are similar. And if I want to brighten the image from my brights, I'll click over here at the top right corner and drag in. And there you go. I've brightened the image from the whites. And if I want to brighten the image from the midtones, I'll click to create a new point and then drag up into the top triangle. And I have brightened the image from the whites. Now, let's say I did a whole bunch of crazy edits and I added a lot of points to brighten them from all certain areas within my image, and I want to correct the edit that I did. And I don't know, I did something really crazy and it just doesn't look good. It looks all funky. So there's several ways that I can do that. I can just click on a point and then drag outside of the graph, and it will, you'll notice the point will just erase, it will go away. Or if I want to work faster, I can just reset the entire edit that I've done. So now we went through how to brighten an image from any point, and how to darken an image, and how to reset the histogram. Let's talk about contrast. The basic rule is if the diagonal line has a higher or wider angle, the contrast is higher, and if it has a lower angle, the contrast is lower. So if I click and drag from the white and raise the angle over here, you'll see that, well, I kind of exaggerated over here. Say I click over here and then I click also over here. You'll notice that besides ruining the image completely, I have raised the contrast quite a bit because this angle is much higher. Now if I click over here and drag down and do the opposite, and now I have much less of an angle, and now there's much less contrast. What do I do if I want to lower contrast or raise contrast without actually affecting the black and white point? Well, what I can do is I can do what's called an S-curve. S-curve will raise the contrast of my image, and to do that, what I do is I click kind of in the brighter part of the image and I drag up and brighten my whites, and then I click down at the darker point of the image and drag down to darken the dark points. And if you look over here, you'll see that the angle is much higher than it was originally. I'm going to reset this. Now, if I want to lower contrast, what I have to do is I have to do a backwards S, and I'll click on a point and raise in the darks, raise the darks, brighten the darks, and then I'll click on another point and darken the whites. And now, if you look over here, you'll notice that I actually do have much less of an angle over here in this part of the image, or in most of the image. I have much less of an angle and therefore much less contrast. So that's it. I really showed you how to brighten and darken an image from blacks, whites, or from the midtones using the curves, and I also showed you how to raise and lower contrast. And this is all undestructive editing. So in the next lesson, I'll be talking about using the histogram while you're editing, all sorts of neat tricks and options that you have within the curves tool, and I'll also talk about input and output values. So I hope to see you next week. If you like this tutorial, please subscribe and like. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I could do better. I'll see you next week.